Brandy and that Donna. Karen, they be sharing all their money, got me wearing fly. Girl, I ain't asking, they say they love my ass. And 7 jeans to religion, I say no, but they keep giving, so I keep on taking. And no,
Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. So like a month ago, I'm so sorry, I'm very behind on this kind of stuff, but I asked you to drop some of your worst club experiences, so I will be reading those today and I hope you enjoy. I beat my club owner in a championship and she kicked me out. I'm so sorry, that sounds so funny. One time I was in a really nice club and everyone seemed nice, except one week where we had dressage practice and I couldn't come, and I was also grounded so I couldn't use both my PC and my phone to tell her that I couldn't come. And 1 week later I logged in and I was kicked out of the club. She said that I missed 7 practices, but I only missed 1. I said to her that I have a life and that someone closer to me passed away, and she said I don't care. Oh my god, girlie, I'm so sorry. A lot of club owners, they're so rude nowadays, and they need to understand, right? Like, have empathy. And a lot of club owners as well, they set activity standards that they can't even reach themselves, and that's not like right for the members. And I'm so sorry that happened to you, but maybe it was a good thing that you were removed so that you didn't have to deal with her toxic attitude anymore. Well, one time when I was 8 or 9-ish, I was on Discord with my club late at night. The owner went to go to her home stable, and when she did, for some reason she got kicked from the call. All of a sudden, she joined again with a creepy old man's voice and said, "Where do you live?" I left the club and left the Discord server so quick I could barely breathe. The way you described it and everything, and just like the thing in general, it seems like a line straight out of a horror movie. If you're 8 or 9, I'm not even sure why you're on Discord, because that's not safe, right? This is another reason why you guys make sure that you look at a club's age requirement before you join, because a lot of stuff might not be appropriate for, younger people. So stay safe. If anything is suspicious, you did the right thing though. You just leave and ignore and like never go into contact with that person again. Yeah, stay safe. My first name is Madison, but I prefer to be called Mez. Well, my last club refused to call me that. The owner didn't even try to correct herself, and every time I said, "Oh, it's actually Mez," she would say, "Oh, stop whining, it's not that big of a deal." As revenge, I would just pretend that I didn't hear my instructor until she actually said my name. Well, as you should. I mean, that was so savage. Like, you didn't, resort to violence or anything, but it's a good thing because you're letting her know that, if you don't respect me, then why should I respect you? That's a really, really good solution. One time I joined a club and went on the Discord call. Turns out it was a romance roleplay club, and there was something interesting going on behind the Jorvik stable stands. Oh my god. Romantic role plays and just realistic roleplay clubs in general are my nightmare. Like, no offense to you if you own one or if you are in one, but their romance roles get really scary and inappropriate, to say the least. Here is another one of these romance roles. Once when I was 10, I was in a club and we were doing a romance role, and I got carried away and made my horse's name pregnant. I quit soon after and didn't play Star Stable for a year. I'm still in shock. I was so young. That must have been traumatizing. When you're young, how do you even know what's going on? Like, I would cry. And these Star Stable players are so upsetting. Like, for me, when I go into global, all I see is any Rex rolls. Like, there are children on this game, my friends. So I joined this club, and the first thing that they told me was that I would never forget them and they would be my worst nightmare if I didn't buy the horse and outfit within 10 minutes. I was confused and only stayed in the club for like 5 minutes. When I left, I actually saw them following me for a week or 2 after I left. That's really scary. A lot of times there are just trolls on Star Stable that are just messing with you, but if you haven't already, if something like that happens again, I would just obviously ignore and their club is probably not like a very serious one. That's scary. Yeah, probably like really immature kids. There was this girl who was very mean to me. She got me kicked out of a club for something she did, and I would join new clubs, and she ended up joining a bunch of more clubs that I was in. The last club I was in with her got disbanded, but then it was remade, and I'm in it right now. I really hope she doesn't join the one I'm in right now. Oh god, that's kind of scary. It's like your friend is either obsessed with you or like trying to get you kicked out of clubs for revenge on something. I would stay away from her and ignore her, or like warn your club owner of her so that she doesn't join, or maybe even like create your own club, because that way you're the only person who can control whether they join or not, and like stay away from them, you know? Don't get yourself involved and block or ignore them. So I was a co-owner in a club and I felt excluded. There was another co-owner who got told everything and got love and attention. I didn't get told things I needed to know for owning, and people thought I didn't know what I was talking about. The other owner, the loved one, caused drama here and there. Me, the nice one, got nothing. That's horrible. I'm so sorry. Oh, people these days, you know, life is so unfair. This actually reminds me of a situation that I was in, because a lot of times people don't see what's going on behind the scenes. A lot of people are also two-sided and it's horrible. Picking favorites, you know, that's not okay. And feeling left out is one of the worst feelings out there. I can just tell you this straight away, even if you've never experienced it, but it's horrible. And it soon turns to jealousy, greed, and much more like really bad emotions. And from first-hand experience, I actually felt left out of my own club before, you know, as the club owner, because all of the people in the club loved this one of my co-owners because she was always, you know, talking to them and just getting close with people, while I was busy making sure that everyone was enjoying themselves and planning out events. So I didn't have as much time to, you know, talk and get to know the members more. So obviously they liked my co-owner better than me, and I did not feel very good for obvious reasons, because if I joined a call, they would all be like cracking inside jokes and I'd just be like, okay, and she would be taking credit for the events that I planned. You need to find people that appreciate you for what you do, and don't surround yourself by people who don't think of you as enough. I just want to say that picking favorites is not ever okay, especially if you're the owner, because if you're picking favorites, then that'll show your members that they can pick favorites as well, and they're obviously going to see that you're not a very good club owner. So you can have favorites in your head, I'm sure we all do, but like don't be rude or publicly express that, because if you don't have anything nice to say, don't say it, and always make sure that, you know, people understand what you're talking about, because you want people to feel included. And I'm really sorry for what you had to go through. Once, I was in a club and an old friend owned it. In the description, she wrote, "Please don't leave. People always leave." The club wasn't really active though, so I changed the servers, unfriended her, and left. She reported me. Okay, so if you're leaving a club, please don't be rude about it and at least let the owners know before you're leaving the club. But I find that kind of ironic because she was begging you to like not leave the club and then you just left. But I find it really sad, I guess, and it really makes people want to leave more if you're begging for them to stay, because it makes you sound really desperate. So just be the best you can be, and if people see that, they will come to your club without you having to beg them for it. I swear to God, this race will be the death of me. I keep running into barrels. I'm going to miss like 500 checkpoints. I'm actually dead. I left so many clubs because I'm bored, and one club is barely on and it was small and I just left. Oh no, don't leave the clubs because you're bored. That's what's called a club hopper, And us club owners, we really dislike it. And one day in the future, when you're like looking for your dream club, the club owners will get in touch, and that can ruin your chances by a lot. So don't ruin anything, because it could potentially come back to haunt you in the future. And don't be rude to the club owners, especially if they're just starting out. You know, a member can mean a lot to them. So if you're gonna tease them by leaving, like every single time, and knowing that you're gonna leave, then don't do that, please, for the sake of everyone around you. Like, it might just be fun for you, but it's not really fun for everyone else who's being affected by these decisions of yours. There were these 3 girls who were following me and my club and trying to do some of the moves. I asked them if they wanted to join, and they said yes. I was so excited, and so was my club. The girls were nice, saying things like, "Yes, ma'am, and I'm so sorry, I'll do better." I really liked them, and once the rest of the members logged off, they unfriended me and left the club. I was so confused. I'm really disappointed in people who do stuff like that, because they were most likely just messing with you or just club hoppers, and that's terrible, especially when you get your hopes up about like someone finally wanting to join your club and then they just do that. I'm so sorry. So another bad time was when I was in a club that I'm not gonna name, but the club owner got super pissed because I said hi to one of her friends. Little did I know, it was her boyfriend dressed up in all pink with braids. But how was I supposed to know? The person walked up to me first and said hi. I was just responding and trying to be nice, but nope, I got kicked hard. Oh god, rip. But why is she not getting mad at her boyfriend because he approached you? That's really depressing. I'm sorry. Looks like she just got like really protective. I'm still kind of confused because, I mean, you just said hi, right? That she was probably like really immature. Okay, so I joined a club and they were inappropriate, and I was like, leave, just leave. So I did, and they followed me around saying inappropriate things until I logged off. Oh no, I hate trolls. They're horrible people, and if you come across someone who's being I swear this race, I'm gonna cry. Oh my god. So basically just ignore them. That's what I would do, and that would really trigger people. So if you're a troll, just simply don't. I wouldn't call this a bad experience, but one day about a year ago, I joined a club with a pricey uniform and an Ekeltech as a club horse. I bought it with the remainder of my star coins, and a week later, they disbanded. At least the horse wasn't that bad. Oh no! Big rip to your star coins. I feel so bad. So this, like, I feel bad, of course, for the club banning too, but this is why you shouldn't have to buy the club stuff right away, because first you have to see that you want to stay in the club, which is something I don't think you had an issue with, but like still. And you also have to see if they're a club that seems like they're holding on, because if they're like a super small club that seems like they'd probably ban at any second, you most likely don't want to get the club horse and outfit, because it'll be for like nothing, especially if it's like a horse that you wouldn't get if not for the club. So just make sure that you're sure on what you're getting yourself into before you spend stuff that you can't take back on it. Okay, so for this next one, the girl put the actual full username, but I'm not going to be mentioning the username or the club name because this is not an exposing channel. I'm just going to block out any mentions of names, and I'm going to refer to this girl as Karen, okay? So Karen invited me to the club, right? She ended up being 11, telling a 10-year-old to kill himself, and other terrible things. She also faked being depressed for attention and faked being dead, and then her club members let it slide as a prank. I'm disgusted to have ever been her friend. Yeah, you should be, because faking a mental illness is not okay, and it will never be okay. You have no idea how hard life can be for those people, and if they were given the chance, they would probably choose to be normal, right? So that's not very respectful to them. And usually people who say that are like really immature people, which is another reason that clubs have an age limit, because no one's going to expect to have to deal with these sorts of problems with older members. And as I said, that's not okay. And telling people to kill themselves is even less than okay, because it's not about a horse game anymore. You've made it really personal, and you can't tell people to kill themselves. That is going way over the line. And yeah, maybe faking a mental illness can gain you some clout or followers for a certain amount of time, but then you're gonna have to live with knowing that you fake that, you know, for the rest of your sociable career, because it's not possible. Like, if you pretend you're autistic, it's not possible for you to suddenly stop being autistic, like when you just decide that you don't want to be autistic anymore. And also, if you get the facts wrong, then that's just really disrespectful and immature of you. You should never ever tell anyone to kill themselves or fake a mental illness. And although this point was not mentioned in this specific comment, I know that a lot of you are aware of people who say things to degrade themselves, like, I'm such a horrible person, you know, I hate myself, I'm going through such a hard time right now, and I'd really appreciate it if you guys, like, weren't so mean to me, and I know I'm ugly, I know I'm not worth it, and stuff like that. And when someone says that, I really just want to punch them in the face, because what are you trying to do? Are you trying to make yourself feel better? Or are you trying to get people to tell you that, like, no, you're amazing and stuff like that? If something like that happens, then I would just remove them from the club for being really immature. Like, of course, you can talk about your problems like a grown adult, but what are you gonna fix by calling yourself names? Like, if someone said that to me, then I would just shrug my shoulders and be like, okay then, like, you do you. Like, are you really that upset about your own lifestyle that you're gonna fake someone in your family passing away, or something really bad, or like a tragic accident happening to you, just because you want to like get attention? Karma will get you, and I'm not allowed to swear because this is a PG channel, but karma will come back for you at one point, so just be aware of that, and be aware of other people's feelings. Last but not least, I nearly died from a club. We had to use Discord, and the owner was supposedly a 13-year-old girl. It was a 50-year-old man. The owner said we had to give our personal info for the applications, and I immediately left the club. Just thinking about that scares me a lot. It's another horror movie like type thing. Stay safe, guys. Online, you have no idea what people are behind the screens. You should never fully trust people that you meet on the internet, because they could be so easily faking their whole life. And what you did was right, though. There are some stupid people who will still give out their information even if something seems sketchy, but the minute something seems off, leave, you know, cut off all connections, don't give them what they're looking for, and that way you can stay safe. They're like, not to scare you, but there are people out there who will get your information and they will do horrible things, not just to you. You might think, no, it's just a horse game, you know, like the most they can do is hack my star coins or something, but there are hackers out there, really powerful hackers, who can get your home address, your IP address, which is like where your internet is from, and they can like take bank account information, you know, so that's not just bad for you, but that's bad for your parents, and you don't want that to happen ever. So, you know, stay safe on the internet, be cautious and aware of things, be suspicious, like don't be suspicious, but like be suspicious of other people. Now I have read all of the bad club experiences that you guys left, and I'm going to be sharing some of my own. Don't worry, I'm not here to expose all the past clubs I've been in, and I'm actually going to come for my own club that I owned previously. So there was this one girl, and we were actually like, she just joined. She was like one of my first members in Frost Sisters, and she had to go. Like, she said she was going AFK because I didn't have Discord at the time. So she joined the club, and then she was like, okay, I'm going AFK. And then I was like, okay. And then 5 minutes later in the chat, I see Ellie doesn't like this club. She's going to leave now. Goodbye. And I got, I got so scared. That stuck with me forever. And I was like, what? And then she just left the club. And then I went to stand by her character that was just frantically running around. And then this, like, the actual person came back, and I was like, what was that? And she was like, oh, that's my sister, like, she doesn't really like your club. And I'm like, what? Like, your sister knows about this club that I just made, like, a few days ago? Okay. But anyways, that was really scary. People do fake that stuff for attention, but it's really scary. Now I have more tea, and like, this is really, really bad, but it's like, I'm open to talking about it now. This little story is about my previous club and one of my co-owners along with some members. It's kind of funny because we joke about it now, and we're like still good friends, but we just weren't as close as we were before from that point. But basically, there was a friend group, right? She was my co-owner, and this was the same issue I was telling you guys about before, with her getting really close with specific people in the club, and basically her choosing favorites within the club. So there was a total of like 4 people, I think, and we got in a stupid argument, again, not gonna give specific details, about friend groups and stuff like that, and how I was basically telling her that I didn't appreciate how she was picking favorites and seeming to care more about them than actually helping with the club. But basically, she got mad, and she was like, I have more important stuff going on in my life right now. And I was like, okay. So then she left the club along with one of the friends from her friend group. Of course, I was very upset because I just lost a good co-owner and one of my friends. So I was also suspicious because 2 of her friends from the friend group were still in the club. So they kind of split up, 2 stayed and 2 left. And those 2 that stayed, they were normally 2 really quiet people. So I was like, what's going on? Like, why are they here? And I was immediately suspicious. I was like, something is definitely going on here. So we had a club meeting, right? And I was like, what's going on here? And they were all like, why did your club owner just leave? And then we went into some things that I don't want to talk about, not because like I was being rude, but just because it's going to be really obvious if I state what it is. But yeah, we got into kind of an argument, and the 2 people that were in the club and part of their friend group was defending my ex co-owner. And I was like, what's going on? And then suddenly the ex co-owner's best friend, who also left with her, messages me, and she's like, why are you saying these things about this person? And I'm like, how do you know? And by the way, I did not mean it to be in a hurtful way. And she was like, oh, someone in your club is telling me everything, and we can hear everything that's going on in the meeting. And I was immediately so upset because someone in the club was obviously leaking information to those on the outside. And I was like, guys, I trusted you. Like, this is supposed to be a private club conversation, and what comes into the club chat should stay in the club chat. And I was so angry, and I had my suspicions, of course, the 2 people who were in the call, and I was like, this is not okay. So me and the girl in the DMs went back and forth a bit, which made it very clear that she knew exactly what was going on, which meant that she was probably like being live streamed our club meeting too. And I read our conversations to the club, not to like make them feel bad for me, but just to show them what this is going on. I'm being literally attacked right now. And they were really upset too. They're like, who's doing this? And I'm like, just own up to it before this gets worse. I could stay here all day. until someone admits it was them. And then I had a whole breakdown on the call. I was like, no, please stop, because I'm not doing anything wrong. And then the person really accused me of playing victim and like basically using the other person. And I was like, no. But I ended the meeting. I ended up ending the meeting because I was not going to hold people on call for like 5 hours. And, you know, if I was going to say something else, I didn't want to like lash out in anger or saying something that I would regret. And if I said like another thing, I would probably like end up straight on crying on the call. So we ended the meeting, and afterwards, even when I was angry, I was not going to resort to being like, I was not going to drop to their level, and I DM'd the two people that I was suspicious of afterwards in their Discord DMs. I was like, hey, so I know that someone was live streaming the call, and I think it was the two of you, like, not to point fingers or anything, but you guys are the only ones that those two people are close to, so please just own up to it before this gets way worse. And they were like, oh my god, I'm so offended because you would think that we did this. And I was like, I'm sorry, I guess, you know. And we were both like, okay. And the next day, guess what? They left the club. So my suspicions were that they were told to stay to hear what I was saying or what I was going to say at the meeting and then live stream it to the other two. I felt really betrayed, and I still let the situation slide because I did not attack them. I just ignored them, and I tried to not let it bother me. And then a few months later, me and the co-owner, we talked and we became friends again. And I was like, okay, so what was up with that, the call? And she admitted that it was a live stream. And I was like, who did it? And at first she was like, I can't tell you, you know, that's betraying my friends. But then I was like, really? Are you kidding me? Like, it's been months and it's just a stupid call. I'm not going to, I'm not going to go at them or anything. And she's like, promise? And I'm like, yeah, I promise. And turns out, guess what? It was those two. And what made me extremely upset wasn't the fact that they had done that in the first place. It was that they hadn't owned up to it, and they had the nerve to tell me that I shouldn't have accused them, which thinking back on the situation, I guess it was just all an immature thing, but it really hurt, you know. And life is gonna hurt. Life is very unfair to everyone. And I guess, you know, use it as a lesson, I guess. But after, we eventually made up and we were friends again, although not as close friends as we were before, because after seeing how, like, she just turned her back on me so quick and without hesitation, I couldn't help but worry, like, if we became friends again, like really good friends again, what's to say that she wouldn't turn on me once more since she so easily did so the first time? So I was very cautious, I guess you could say. However, I kept my promise to her. I never confronted those two people, but I couldn't help but think, like, would it have been different if I did confront them? Because I know things about them that other people don't know. And if they knew, it would probably make a difference, or it would not, because, like, I don't want to act out of revenge or hatred. I would like to settle it properly. But then again, it's been like almost a year now, years now. So it doesn't make sense. As long as they understand what they've done wrong, like, such a small thing should not, like, I shouldn't go out of my way to make sure that the rest of their career is ruined or anything, you know. Focus on yourself before anyone else. So that's my interesting story, I guess. I have way more, but those are definitely private. So that is my whole video. I hope you enjoyed and learned some lessons from, you know, my experiences. that It was very interesting, that's for sure. And don't go pointing fingers, you know, of accusation in the comments. Don't try to guess who I'm talking about because you're more than likely going to be wrong, and I'm not even gonna say anything on that. I mean, if I had to choose one of my worst club experiences, that would definitely be one of them. I have way more, obviously, but thank you for watching this video, and hopefully I will see you back next time. Bye!